Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Lynn and I'm Pretty Papercrafts 67. Today I just wanted to share with you all just a really simple, easy project on making your own file folders. The inspiration for this project has come from Shannon Green. I will link the video below. Shannon did a demonstration on how to make or how to customize file folders. We call them manila folders here in Australia. But yeah, yes, you could buy a manila folder and use it, but if you're like me and you tend to hoard scrapbooking paper, I just thought it was a nice way to use some of that scrapbooking paper. As a lot of you know, I have had to downsize my crafting space, so I'm trying to organize everything really well, and I use file folders in my work day a lot. When I'm doing projects, I tend to put all my papers and pieces into a folder per project, and then I work from that folder. So I really thought that was a great idea. So I put this one together and love the results. And it has a front pocket. So you've got the benefit of a file folder as well as a front pocket. It has a gusseted, a 1/4 inch gusset, so that gives you a good amount of room to put your papers inside. But then I thought I wanted to customize the sizes to include an 8x8. So this one is created using 12x12 scrapbooking paper. And then I just wanted to downsize it, so I customized the measurements to do one in an 8x8, but then also a 6x6. Because I think these little ones are really sweet to add into your journals in pockets, or in, if you had index card box, you could put them in an index card box, and then per folder you could have your stickers or labels or whatever. And then the 8x8, I create a lot of ephemera bundles for sale in my Etsy store, and I really liked the size of these to house the ephemera bundles. So that's one that I have completed, and it's got about 12 pieces of ephemera inside there. So you really can fit a nice amount into them. So I just thought I'd do a little quick demonstration, show you how to create these file folders in case someone too would like to customize their craft room with their own scrapbooking papers, their own ideas. So basically it's scrapbooking paper, and I have chosen double-sided. I think that's better because you will see front and back of each piece. So and each file folder takes 2 sheets of patterned paper. So I've got 2 in a 6x6, I've got 2 in an 8x8, and I've got 2 in a 12x12. Now my tip for this one is the 12x12. If you're making the big file folder, then I would suggest using a sturdy scrapbooking paper. This is Minte, so it's really nice quality. When you get down in your smaller sizes, I don't think it matters so much, but yeah, just for your big ones, if it's going to stand up inside of a file folder storage unit thing, then yeah, the sturdier the better. But basically, I think the hardest part of this project is choosing your papers. So for this one, these are the exact same papers. So I'm just going to use the opposite side and then a front side. So you have to choose what you want as your front or your back. So obviously the back and then the front. And it's as simple as, I've got all the measurements here. So you will need a cutter for this. So once you've determined your front and your back, you want to take your front sheet and you want to trim that down. Trim it down to 8 3/4. Now, if you're using a directional page, as I am, you want to sort of make sure that you're trimming your bottom edge rather than your top edge, or whatever part of that image that you want to keep, because this is 12 wide. So if we took it from this side, then the file folder size width would be shorter. So I want to set that at 8 3/4. So there is my 8 3/4 mark. And yeah, I'm just going to trim off that bottom part of that page. Now that won't go to waste because that will become our pocket in the front. So that's pretty much all the cutting there is to do. Now I'm using a scoreboard because I have one. But yeah, you could use one of those craft mats with all the measurements and then a bone folded crease instead of this. What's this called? I've completely lost my mind. Anyway, scoreboard. So now on the back page, we want to score it at 9.5 inches, and I am working in inches because my scoreboard is in inches. So we're going to score it at 9.5 inches. And I didn't check. Yep, that's right. Again, it's a directional piece, so I want my top half of the image to be here, and I'm scoring from the bottom. And to create that 1/4 inch gusset, we're now going to score again at 9 3/4. Because this is a thicker cardstock, I'm just going to give it a nice heavy press through those score lines. Okay, pack that away. Now I'm just going to take those score lines and I'm just going to fold up nice and firmly on them and give them a good burnish. And then we're going to create the 1/4 inch gusset by folding on that second score line. And there you go. I hope you can see that on camera. There's your 1/4 inch gusset. There's the back of your file folder. Now, before I go any further, this is completely optional, I just like to round my corners. So I'm just using an envelope punch board to do that. And I'm doing it also, I'm not going to do it on that corner, on the pocket piece, but I am going to do it on the top of the front cover page. Okay, so that's my corners rounded. And then it's simply putting it together. Now I'm going to turn it this way. Now this is your flap that comes up. This will adhere to this page, this front page, and that just creates a nice sturdiness in this lower section of the file folder. And then the pocket piece will simply sit over the top of that, so you will have your pocket in there. So all we need to do at this stage is to simply stick this page onto this flap. I'm going to turn it that way because that's the way I want it to sit. And I'm just going to use art glitter glue. I would probably suggest, if you're using a heavier cardstock, that you use something just a little bit better than a glue stick, because it is not weight bearing, but yeah, it's going to be the foundation of the folder, so you don't want it to be flimsy. So that second score mark, the 9 3/4 score mark, just to the right hand side of the score mark, I hope I'm in frame, I just want to place this top piece down. I'm just checking, yep, and I'm just going to place that just as neatly as I can just on the right hand side of that score mark, and level it up just like that. And then that creates your file folder, and then you have this 1/2 inch tab up the top, and then your file folder will open like that. Now, because I do want to sew around my pocket before I stick it down, I will sew along here. I won't do it on camera because my sewing machine's not handy. But yeah, I would sew along the top of my pocket, ink it up, and then I would then attach the bottom of my pocket, all 3 sides. I sew, so I only need to attach the bottom, again, just on the right-hand side of that score line there. Now, I'll just grab my paper clips. So just because I want to sew, I am just going to paper clip that on before, because later on I'll take it to the machine and I'll sew it. But yeah, so there you go. So there's your file folder all completed. You've got a pocket in the front, and then I've machine stitched around, and then I've machine stitched around the complete edge of the file folder, just because I like sewing. I like that look. And then I've just decorated it up with some numbers and some little labels and things like that. And the sky's the limit. You can, yeah, create, use it for however you like. So that is the 12 by 12. It's a little bit bigger than an A4 size, I suppose, but not much. So that is that one. Then when we come down to the 8 by 8 inch, I've got some Tim Holtz paper here, which is 8 by 8 inch, so that's handy. But you can always cut your 12 by 12 inch paper down into an 8 by inch size if you've liked that size. So again, it's a again, I've just modified the measurements a little bit on this one, and I have chosen to use this as my front cover because I think that would make a lovely sewing themed bundle, which I'll be working on next. And so that will be my backing page. So same thing applies just on the front cover, and I've got the measurements here. So the first page, your front cover page, you want to trim that down to 4 3/4. Like that. And again, that will become our front pocket, and that's all the trimming. And then again, I'm going to bring back in my scoreboard, and I want to score. Now again, this is directional, so this is how my file folder will sit. So I will want to turn it and score this way. And the score measurements for the 8 by 8 are 5 1/2. And again, Tim Holtz is a fairly sturdy, not quite as sturdy as the Minte, but you know, just excellent quality. So I can again afford to put the gusset in, and I want to put the gusset in because it'll hold an ephemera bundle. Alright, so that is the scoring, and again, like we did before, we're just going to fold up on those score lines like that. And the gusset, now if you didn't want the gusset, if you just wanted them to lay flat, then you could just choose which score line you wanted. If you scored on the 9, if you folded on the 9 3/4, you would have about 3/4 of an inch tab. If you only scored and folded on the 9 1/2, you would have a little bit more. So it fully depends what you want, but I like the gusset, so I'm going to keep with that. And then just like we did before, we're just basically going to turn it. This is the top part, and we're just going to stick this down onto the this flap here. And again, I'm just using the art glitter. Like so. And then that's my, oh, we haven't rounded the corners. Anyway, I can do that after. So that's the top of my page. And so I just want to stick that down just to the right hand side of that score line, not on top of it, just to give it that little bit of room to still fold like that. And then once again, that is our file folder, and then this piece that we cut off becomes our pocket. Now before I forget, I'm just going to go and round all my corners. Like so. And then again, because I will want to come back in and sew, I'll just paper clip that on. But then that is your 8 by 8 size. Yeah, I really like that size for holding things. You could even make this size. This could be a really nice junk journal cover, because you've got that 1/4 of an inch gusset. You've got room to sew in some signatures or a signature, depending upon how many papers. And then that could become a really nice cover for a junk journal. So that is your 8 by 8 inch paper size. And then we come down to the 6x6, which I think they're such a sweet little size. I think they could look really nice sitting into an index file box, one of those card boxes, an index card file box, and yeah, have them full of recipes, notes. Oh, there's so many little things you could use one of these for. But again, I think they're also great to include into ephemera bundles when I make them. So to make that one, I've just got 2 sheets of 6x6 patterned paper. And the measurements that I have for this one is, again, I'll bring in the cutter, and I'm going to cut this one at 3 3/4 inches. Like that. And again, that becomes our pocket. And that's all we need for cutting. And then the scoreboard. Now this one here, I think this was a Stampin' Up paper, I think. So it's a little bit thinner than the others, so I'm not going to score quite so heavy on this one. So this one I'm going to score at 4 1/4 and 4 1/2. Now again, if you didn't want that gusset, you could just score it at 9 1/2 and leave it at that, but I just like the gusset. And then again, I'm just going to fold on those score lines. Oh, that one's a little fiddlier because it's smaller, like that. And then bring in my cover page, and then there is my pocket. And again, once again, we're just going to attach the cover page to the flap. That's my top, so I'm just going to pop that down on the right hand side of that score line there. And there you have it, and around the corners. I like the corners rounded, but that's my choice. So, and then there you have it, another little file folder, and then there's your front pocket, which again, I'm just going to paper clip on. Geez, I have only one paper clip left. I can't get it out. Oh no, 2. There we go. So once I've sewn around the pocket and inked it, then I will sew it onto the front cover. So there you go, a very simple, easy little craft. It's just nice to customize your stationery needs, or just a nice little added something to put into junk journals, or as I said, a nice way to house ephemera bundles when you're sending. In my case, I sell my ephemera bundles, but if they're lovely for snail mail, happy mail, that type of thing. Okay guys, well I hope you find that interesting. If you would like the measurements sent to you, just let me know. I can type them up and send them, but I will link them in the description box below. Yeah, so thanks so much for joining me today. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone had a great weekend. And yeah, stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye.